Hello, students. Today we are learning about another very exciting topic in mathematics, absolute value equations. I want to, first of all, state some definitions in order that we can understand the question number one. Well, question number one is asking us to state if the statement that we have in question number one is true or false. And the statement is that the absolute value of x is equal to -2, have no solution. And the statement is true, or why is true? Well, by definition, the absolute value of any real number, and we can use x in this time as a variable representing any real number, and is denoted by these two vertical bars and the x in the middle, and this x can represent any number or can represent any real number or can represent a polynomial. No, it's always a non-negative value without regard to its sign. That means if I ask you, for example, what is the absolute value of -2, the answer would be 2, a positive number. If I ask you what is the absolute value of 2, it's 2, 2. And we say, but why is that? Well, in the second dot, I give you the explanation. The equation x equal -2 has no solution because the absolute value of any real number represents its distance from 0 in the number line, and distance is always positive. Imagine that I start this class with a statement saying, guys, I drove today -20 miles. And everybody will have a question mark in their mind. What do you mean that you drive -20 miles, or you drive 20 miles, or you never depart from your original place, no? My home in this case, no? Because distance is always positive, no? And don't confuse when we are doing physics and we try to subtract, we subtract forces, or we subtract. When there is two difference between distance and displacement, and that is what in physics we do. And when we do displacement, we said that I went to work. I went from my home to work, and I drove 20 miles, to my workplace. And then from my workplace, I went to the store to buy groceries for dinner. And that was another 5 miles. Then I turned around and I was going to home, but I stopped here in the house of my uncle that is only 15 miles. When we talk about displacement, we add 20 and 5 is 25 miles, but when I turn around, I come back and stay in the house of my uncle, and I drove to 15 miles to use subtract 25, from 15, and will be 10 miles. 10 miles. And that is displacement. If you ask me how far I am from my home, I am 10 miles from my home. And that is the reason in physics we subtract as a negative value, no, when I'm going back to home in this case, because we talk about displacement. But if you ask me how many miles I drove today, will be 20 miles plus 5 miles, no, plus 15 miles. We're talking about 25 and 15, 40 miles. So it's because always distance is positive, regardless the sign, no? And that is also the number line. Now I give you an illustration here. You have the 0 here, that is your 0, your origin, no? And if you ask me how far is -3 from 0, no, I will count the spaces. I'll do my hoops. It's 1, 2, 3, and 3 spaces from 0. And if you ask me again, and how far 3 is from 0? Well, let's find out. 1, 2, 3. So it's both -3 and 3, regardless the sign of the number, both are 3 spaces from 0. And that is the reason the absolute value always is positive, because again, is the distance of the real number that we are talking about from 0. I hope that helped you to understand why the question number 1 have no solution. So every time that you see a statement like this in your homework, in your quizzes, in your test, no, they give you any number. Remember, x can represent any real number, or a polynomial is equal to a negative number is no solution. Don't waste your time, have no solution. Go to the next question. That is question number 1 in this assignment. No, I will give you a minute that you can copy and you can make your notes. And then we are going to our next question, question number 2. You know, it's important that you know the why of everything. Now, some teachers, what they do is they give you a lot of examples and you try to follow the examples that they did, but sometimes you don't understand why he did that, or why he did that, or why he subtract that. I'm trying to explain you the why and the when. Why and when you can apply that. And then the how will come by practice. That's the reason you need to do this assignment and then take a skill quiz, to know how much you have learned about the absolute value equations. So let me erase, I give you enough time, and I recorded this video. You can go back again and watch the video as many times you need it. No, and if you have any question during this assignment, absolute value, please shoot me an email. Remember, I am only one email away from you. Remember also that next week, Wednesday, the 11th, is the exam number 1. That means after that, all assignments that were before exam number 1 will be closed. That means you need to be sure that you are this weekend you can cut up with all your assignments. Remember also that our exams for this class, college algebra, no, and sorry, I don't know why I put the 6 there. It's 15, 13. No, math 15, 13. All the exams are 70%. Your quizzes are 10% and your homework is 20%. That means you can make all your quizzes and all your homework, but you only have 30% of your overall grade. If you don't take your exams, you can fail the class even when you have done all homeworks and all quizzes. Don't miss the exam Wednesday by any means. No, I can well, you are in the hospital and you are in ICU, or you will have surgery, we can talk about that, but we need a doctor notice or something like that saying that that happened. But besides that, you cannot miss your exam. Okay, let's go to question number 2. Question number 2, let me change colors in my marker. Question number 2 says that the absolute value of x is equal to 3. No? And they're asking us to solve that. So before try to solve it, I want to explain, no? That is it's called the absolute value theorem. And what the absolute value theorem says that if no if imagine I give you this absolute value equation, the absolute value of u is equal to a. Because the absolute value theorem says if a is a positive number, and if u is any algebraic equation. You remember, u can represent, as I said, can represent a real number, or u can represent also a binomial or a polynomial or a trinomial. Then the absolute value of u equal a. Then u is equal to a, and u is equal to negative a. And I explained this when I did the previous. That is your 0, your origin, and you have a 3 here and a negative 3. No, and that is called integers. When we start number, we start with the natural numbers. And natural numbers are all the counting numbers without 0. Then we go to the whole numbers, and whole numbers are all the counting numbers include 0. And then we go to integers, and when we go to integers, include all the positive and negative numbers. No, all the positive and negative real numbers, because that means any number that can be between 3 and negative 3 and 0 and 0 and 3. All are real numbers. And u can be any one of these numbers. So when you have u represent, in other words, you have here negative u and you have positive u. I'll put a plus. I exaggerating, we never put a plus, but to give you an idea. So when you have to solve an algebraic equation, you need to always have two equations, because you have to solve one for the the negative real number and 1 for the positive real number. And I will give you an example. No, just applying this principle, no, we can say that the absolute value, no, the absolute value of 3 equal equal, no, x is equal to 3 or x is equal to negative 3. So both answers are real answers for this algebraic expression. So I'll give you a minute, you copy and you make your notes, and we'll go to the next question. Again, you have any question or you have any concern or difficulty trying to solving this equation, this absolute value, should be an email. You know, if you don't understand or you still need more explanation and you don't email me, it's on you. I'm here in college from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way to 4 o'clock. And we can do even Zoom tutoring sessions. You don't have to be physically here. You can go early to work if you are working or you are in your high school, and we can Zoom from there, and I can explain whatsoever you need to understand about the homework or the quiz or to prepare yourself for the exam. Talking about prepare for the exam, today you go to your Blackboard page that belongs to this class, and you scroll down to the button under Model 1. There is a practice test, exam 1, and I will be open probably until the day of the test. You can take this practice test that is a copy, is identical to the exam that you will take Wednesday. Is one of the copies. I have 12 copies of every assignment, including exams. So that will be is a copy of the exam. You know what to expect when you are going to take the exam Wednesday. But besides that, you can practice. And it's graded. But the grade that you will get in the practice test will not affect your overall grade. It's only to let you know where you are. And you can take these tests as many, the practice tests for exam 1 as many times you want. Let me erase question number 2, and let's go now to work in equations, because we already set up the ground for how to operate and how to do absolute value equation. This is my question number 3 is 600 is equal to the absolute value of 100 A minus 400. By convention, we try to have always the equal in the right side. But honestly, it's the same thing. No, it doesn't matter where you put the equal sign and where is your answer. And the same principle that we have sometimes, no, you said minus 1/2, or you said minus 1/2, or you said 1 over negative 2. If you divide these 3 examples, you will have the same answer. So it doesn't matter where you put the negative sign, the answer will be negative and will be the same answer. So that's the same thing, regardless if you put the equal sign in the left or the right. By convention, we try to put in the right, but if it's in the left, it's okay. So let's start working. No, we said that when you work any you work any absolute value equation, you need to make two equations. No, the first one will be for the positive 600 is equal, and you can take this algebraic expression out of these two bars. No, these two bars are the absolute value sign. You can take this out like you take something out of the parentheses, and then you write your question. Let me go to the corner to have enough space to do both equations at the same time. No, you take out the bars of the absolute value. You have a minus 400. And here will be my negative equation. Negative 600 is equal to 100a minus 400. Because I have my positive and my negative. No, because remember, what is the distance of both numbers and the number line from zero. Because in the first one, my first equation that I will perform here, I will divide everything by 100. When I work with my students, I always tell to them, try to simplify your numbers as much as you can. It's better to work with little numbers than big numbers. Especially when you have to multiply, divide, and all this stuff. So it's because that you divide anything by 100, you can use your calculator, or if you have two zeros here, you take two zeros there. If you have two zeros, you take two zeros. If you have two zeros, you take two zeros. Or you can divide it, 600 divided by 100, and the answer now will be 6 is equal to a minus 4, because that's what you have after you divide everything by 100. Because a times 100 is 100a, 4 times 100 is 400. And then, as we normally do, we try to isolate a variable. In this case, a, we're solving for a. I will add 4 to both sides to do that. When I do that, this negative 4 and positive cancel, and my answer will be, you have a positive 6 and a positive 4 will be a 10, is equal to a. So that is one of the answers, no? And now let's do the other equation to see what will be the answer. So as you do the same operation, I will divide both sides by 100. When I do that, now I have a negative 6 is equal to a minus 4. And I will add 4 to both sides to isolate my a and get my answer. And when I do that, this negative 4 and positive cancel. And now I have a negative 6 and a positive 4. Remember, when you add or subtract a negative and a positive, you try to figure out who is the bigger number. 6 is bigger than 4. Then the sign that is connected to the 6 is a negative sign. So your answer will be negative. No, and then you subtract 6 minus 4 is 2 is equal to a. So the two answers that I have for this equation is that a is equal to 10 and a is also equal to negative 2. And in your homework, you have some of you have is a multi choice, and you can write your answers there. Okay, let's give you a minute. You can copy that and make your notes, and then we're going to question number 4. Let me erase the board, and we can do question 4 and question 5. The question 4 is another absolute value equation says that the absolute value of 8x plus 7 is equal to 8. Again, no, and I will have to set two equations. No, the first one I will take the algebraic expression between the bars and the left out. And when I do that, I have a positive 8x plus 7. Let me go to a corner to have a space for both equations. 8x plus 7 is equal to 8. And my second equation will be that ax plus 7 is equal to negative 8. And I began to perform my equations. I will, first of all, because I need to solve for x, I will move the 7, the plus 7 to the right side. To do that, I will subtract 7 from both sides. When I do that, now I have that 8x is equal. Positive 8 minus 7 will be 1. No, and then I divide both sides by 8 to isolate my x and find the value of x. These two 8 cancel, and x is equal to a positive 1, 8. That is one of the answers. Let's do the other equation. Now I will again subtract 7 from both sides, and these positive and negative 7 cancel. And I have that ax is equal to, remember when you have two, you add into negative, it's like you are adding two numbers. No, you are adding negative 8 to negative 7, and your answer will be will be negative 15. Then I will divide both sides by 8 to isolate my variable x, and the answer is that x is equal to negative 15 over 8. But you can figure out that there is no a number that can divide evenly 15 and 8, and that is the reason that is a final answer. But the answer is negative. Don't forget your signs. I see a lot of cases where the students omit or forget the sign when to put the answer. So let's go to question number 5. I will give you a minute that you can copy that, and we'll go to 5. Okay, let's go to 5. Question number 5. Question number 5. Our equation says that 4x is equal to 12. So again, I need to broken this in two equations. No. One equation is 4x is equal to 12. The other equation is that 4x is equal to negative 12. Just to isolate my x, I divide both sides by 4. And the answer would be that x is equal to 3. And here, I divided both sides by 4. And the answer is that x is equal to negative 3. Then we are doing our last one for today. This assignment have only 6 questions. Let me erase and let's go to our last one. And again, I'm recording. You need to go back and check what I said. You can go as many times, but also I am uploading only the video of my lecture notes to Blackboard. Remember, in Blackboard and my lecture note, lecture and videos, lecture notes and videos, I have all the videos and lecture notes for every assignment that you are doing in this class. You have my last year, 25, 24, Sometimes you will find even 23. And also I am uploading this year, 2026 examples. I try to always do something better, perfect something, but the content is the same. So let's go to question 6. And question 6 says, the absolute value of 2 minus 5t plus 6 is equal to 18. Entonces, before take this algebraic expression 2 minus 5t out of the absolute value signs, these two bars, I will first of all move my 6 to the right side. So I will subtract 6 from both sides. And now I have the absolute value of 2 minus 5t is equal 18, positive 18 minus 6 will be 13. Now I do the same thing that I did before. I will have my first equation, 2 minus 5t is equal to 13. And then my other equation, 2 minus 5t is equal to negative 13. And then I will start working my equations. I will first of all, because it's a positive 2, I will subtract 2 from both sides. When I do that, these 2 and 2 positive and negative cancel, and I have that 5t is equal to 11. Now, next, I will divide both sides by 5 to isolate my t and find my answer. And my final answer is the t is equal to 11 over 5. And I repeat that over and over. Let me check something. Yeah, no, that was to try to find out that, that is a negative, let me see. It's a negative 5. Negative, 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 and that is a negative 2 also. Because when you take the 2, you still have the negative 5t. No, so we have to, it's a negative 11 over 5. Remember, doesn't matter where you put the negative. If you want to put the negative next to a 5, negative 11 over, or the answer will be 11 over negative 5, it's okay. The answer will be always negative, regardless where the negative 1 goes. If you try to simplify in a decimal, regardless where the negative sign is, you will have also a negative decimal. So let's go to the other side. So you have also, it's a positive 2, we'll subtract 2 from both sides. The positive 2 and negative 2 cancel, and you have 5t is equal. And then you have two negatives. Again, when you have two negatives, it's like you are adding these two numbers, but your answer will be negative. So you have negative 13 minus 2 will be negative 15. And then you divide both sides by 5 to find to isolate your variable and find the answer. And t, these two cancel, t is equal to negative 3 because 5 go once in 5, but go 3 times in 15. So your answer will be for the last question, t is equal to negative 11 over 5, and the other answer t is equal to negative 3. Well, that's all for today in this class. I hope that you understand this concept about the absolute values. If you have more questions, remember the only thing you have to do is email me and I will immediately answer your concerns. Until then, God bless you and have a wonderful day.